Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
I'll start it with a story from a previous thread. In the basement of my parents' house about 4 weeks ago. Go down there late one night to get something out of storage for Easter. Never liked the storage room as a kid, bad vibes. Don't give a fuck now. I'm 6'1" and 210 pounds. 6% body fat, mostly muscle. Open the door to the storage room. See something that no longer resembles a human. Gawk at it in horror. It moves. Closed door. Run upstairs, barricade basement door. Think I had a panic attack. Went back down later after I grew a new pair of balls. Not there anymore. Not sure if that is better or worse. Mention it to parents because I am paranoid. They say I must be seeing things. Don't believe them at all. Sister tells me later in private she saw it too when she was a kid. Nope.
B14 at home alone watching TV in the living room. Hear noise behind me. Look back and see person trying to open window. See parents' car pull into driveway. Look back, see window open. Nope. Ran the fuck outside to the car. Called cops from payphone.
About 7 or 8 years old at the time. Summer break, about 1 a.m. pulling an all-nighter. Mom and Dad sleep in their own room. Grandma has been staying at our house for a few weeks. Displaced from an apartment fire. She has been sleeping in the living room. I'm watching TV. Get hungry, decide to go to the kitchen for a snack. Walk to the kitchen, have to pass the living room doorway to get there. Look in as I walk by. Grandma is standing on the couch, staring directly at me. Turn around, run to my room and lock doors. Man it out in my room for the night. About 9 a.m. Mom knocks on the door. Tells me not to freak out, that Grandma passed away, and not to go into the living room until the ambulance arrives.
Up late on computer, headphones on. No music is playing. My roomie is in the other room, watching TV. Our dog starts barking. I take off my headphones to hear what he was barking at. Silence. I realized my roommate went to bed an hour ago. I distinctly heard voices in the other room. Check it out, no one was there. Nowhere to run, nowhere to nope. So I just sit back at the computer and play music, pretending I didn't hear anything.
My only experience is in Wheatland, California. Farmer City was built a while back, usually from hand by families. Anyway, the backstory is my cousin's house in which a girl died of pneumonia in the 40s. Never really cared to believe him. B17. Be in my cousin's room, a typical summer stay over. Video games, snacks and laptops are how we rolled. My cousin always falls asleep first. I am a night owl and always stay up late in the summer or weekend. Be 1 or 2 a.m. watching Adult Swim on the floor. Windows are open, 80-degree fucking heat at night. I usually sleep with noise so fans are a plus to the heat. Get tired from Adult Swim. Turn off TV, dark as fuck, whatever sleep time. Hand over eyes, listen to fans till I can fall asleep. Concentrate so hard on fans that I hear talking. No one is awake but I still hear talking, muffled over the fans. You have got to be fucking kidding me. JPEG. Once in a lifetime opportunity to experience man the fuck up. X. Concentrate on talking, can hear, I shit you not, a fucking girl talking. A little fucking girl like 5 feet away from my fucking ear talking. As soon as I realize this, it stops. Fucking dead silence. Nope. Can hear only the fans. Turn TV back on, wake up cousin. Convince him to play Sims until the morning. Mention it to him at breakfast. Nothing ever since, but I will confront paranormal shot for the sake of proof from then on. Always ready to record now. But I don't go looking.
Be about 15 years old, visiting grandma's house. No parents to tell me what to do, get accustomed to nightly walks with the neighbor's cat following me around. Out in the dark a few yards away from the house, no porch light on, can barely see. Something brushes against my leg, kind of wet, slick. Look down, see a black shape against my leg. Assume it's the cat and it's gotten wet somehow, vaguely cat-sized, maybe a little bigger. Start walking back to the house. The cat is under my grandma's chair in the garage, has been the whole time.
Be between 7 or 8. At grandmother's house being babysat. In living room watching Gilligan's Island rerun. Hear grandmother start screaming. Go into the kitchen to see what is wrong. Grandma is screaming and swinging a knife in the air. Nope. I run to the guest bedroom and hide under the bed. Grandmother continues screaming for an hour. I heard my mother come into the house. Run to living room. Grandmother has mother pinned up in the corner with knife to her throat. Mother tells me to go outside and wait in the car. Mother comes running out. Tells me that she had to push grandmother to the floor. We both nope the fuck out of there. Don't visit grandmother much anymore.
Be suspended from 10th grade for a day. I don't want to tell my parents. Walk around town all day since I can't stay at home or go to school. Find a trail leading into a heavily wooded area on the far side of town. Walk into the woods for miles. Find a clearing with an old rusted freezer sitting in the middle. Walk up to it and see a flexible metal hose with a big bolt on the end of it laying in front of the freezer. Immediately imagine a serial killer having used it to beat his victims to death. Getting scared. Work up courage to actually open the freezer. Heart is beating so fast it is about to explode. Breathing so hard I think I might pass out. Look inside. Full of blood, guts and rotting meat. Nope, right the fuck out of there. Keep looking behind me. Positive that someone is out in the woods staring at me as I'm running for my life. I can't stop thinking about a crazed serial killer hiding in the forest beating me to a pulp with that metal hose and stuffing my remains into that old rusty abandoned freezer. Get out of woods unscathed and go the fuck home. Think about it days later. Realize they were animal bodies, probably got trapped in there. Never go into fucking woods ever again.
Be 19. In Washington. Live in a mountain town, North Bend. Late one night hanging in the room wanting to go get snack. Room is end off hallway that leads to kitchen. Leave to go get some food. Walking down the hallway, dark as shit. Feeling walls and walking slow, you know dark as fuck type shit. Feel the corner of the kitchen with left hand. Feel a cool hand cover mine. Nope. Pull hand back so fast that I elbow the wind out of me. Turn around and run back to my room down the hallway which is only illuminated by the rim of the door. Slam into the door trying to open and run in at the same time. Fuddle with handle. Shitting bricks. Finally get the door open. Go to close the door right away and avert my eyes to the hallway. Pretty much looking in my room while I shut the door. Locked it. Moved the dresser in front of it. Finally fell asleep when I finished crying. Since then I have never been able to put my hands or feet in places I can't see.
Be 10 or so. Get obsessed watching dumb paranormal investigator shows on Discovery Channel. Borrow my dad's tape recorder and go down to the cellar. The house I was living in at the time was built in the 1920s. Cellar was barren and creepy as shit. Walk around, calling out to spirits like I saw on TV, trying to capture an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Do this for like 20 minutes, walking around in circles. Return to my room to listen to the tape. Hear deep-voiced mumbling on the tape. No words were clear, but I could definitely hear something there. I'd been the only one in the basement, rest of family had been outside. Get kind of freaked out. Record over the mumbling with something else and ditch the recorder. My career as a paranormal investigator ended that day. It's a lame story, I guess. My family and I moved out of that house about 10 years ago, and recently, my parents have told me a few other things. My mom would stay home alone with us on some nights and would hear footsteps in our attic, or other weird sounds in the house. We also had a cat, who would act strangely when these things allegedly went on. I guess I was just an oblivious kid, because I never noticed too much of this stuff, but my mom swears it's true and that, for a while, she wanted to move out because it was too scary to stay there herself while my dad worked nights.
From a previous thread. Just thinking about this almost brings me to tears. It was the scariest moment I've ever lived in my entire life. Brother used to read me books when I was younger. He was reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. After he would finish reading to me, he'd tell me stories about his stuffed animal, Blinkie. He said Blinkie wasn't just a stuffed animal, he was alive. Blinkie didn't look like any type of stuffed animal I have ever seen, it's creepy looking. He told me Blinkie could talk, but only at night. Blinkie could whisper you secrets about people. My brother told me Blinkie had a thirst for blood. People Blinkie didn't like, he would kill. My brother held Blinkie up to his ear and we were laying in our beds, he looked at me with wide eyes. He told me, Blinkie said he didn't like me. Couldn't sleep for days, had nightmares, couldn't think straight. Weeks pass, forget about it all. Playing Monopoly with my brother and my mom. I look into the hallway where the door to me and my brother's room is. Blinkie is standing in the hallway. My eyes widen, I can barely breathe. I watch as Blinkie looks right at me and walks back into our bedroom. I didn't say anything, I didn't know what to think. When my brother and I went back into my room after Monopoly, Blinkie was on my bed. I stopped sleeping in the same room as Blinkie after that. I told my brother I didn't want him kept in the room.
B14. My birthday party. After presents and cake and shit, mom pulls me aside to talk. Figure it's, I love you and you're growing up so fast, bullshit. Mom has a really serious face. Jordan, do you remember what you did last night? Yeah? Well, how did you sleep? Good I guess, mom. What is this about? You're acting strange and to be honest it's creeping me out. Well, honey, you're doing it again. Mom goes to tell me about when I was a kid, 4 years old, I would bother my sister when she slept. Apparently I sleepwalk, so I decided to talk to my sister recently, me now 23 and her 3 years older 27, and she told me that I would come into her room. She would wake up to me standing at her doorway. She would try to talk to me but I would never say anything back. Eventually, she said, I would turn around and walk away. She said it stopped after a week or so but I never remembered or was told. It fucking creeps me the fuck out.
I have a sleepwalking story. It's not really paranormal, but kind of bizarre nonetheless. I was born with a club foot. For those of you who don't know, it's when a baby is born kind of pigeon-toed. It's a deformity but can be fixed through surgery or therapy. My feet look normal these days and I walk just fine, but they were pretty messed up when I was little. I had surgery to correct it at like 8 years old, but prior to that, I was forced to wear these braces on my feet at night, which would essentially force my feet into the right position. They were a little painful, and they were pretty much impossible for me to walk in, since they had a slippery, rounded heel. At 6 or 7 years old, I began to sleepwalk. My mom recalls hearing a slamming on the ground, thinking someone had broken into the house. Looks outside her door, sees me walking along in these braces on the linoleum floor of the kitchen. Apparently, this happened several times, and although my feet were bound up in these terrible things, I had no problem walking in my sleep, even on otherwise slippery surfaces. All I know is that, if I'd tried to walk with those things on while awake, I'd have slipped and hurt myself. It's kind of creepy now that I think about it. It was around that time that I suffered from night terrors and really terrible recurring nightmares.
Posted this on a different thread before. Had this dream a few nights ago. I was sitting in my apartment alone, on my laptop as usual. I heard the front door open, but I can't see who's coming in due to the layout of the living room. It closes a few seconds later and I see my roommates coming towards me. They were out picking up cigarettes from a gas station. They sat down and we started having a normal conversation which lasted for what seemed like a good amount of time. After a while, I heard my front door open again, but I still couldn't see who it was as I'm sitting in the same spot. I leaned my head towards the door and looked to see who came in. A few seconds later, my same roommates come walking in again, holding the bags they brought the first time. I looked back at the two guys who came into my apartment initially and they were just staring at me. Their eyes were sunken and colorless, their skin was gray, and their mouths started to open slowly, revealing a dark, sorrowful abyss. They were just staring at me. I woke up covered with sweat and shivering, sitting upright on the couch in my living room which was completely dark, save for the red light on my PS3. I felt around for my remote control and turned on my TV. It was a static channel, nothing was happening, and I could easily have found something else. But I sat there watching. A little later one of my roommates came out of his bedroom. I looked at him and said, "Hey." He stopped before the bathroom door and stared at me, not saying a word for what seemed like the longest 15 seconds of my life. After he finally went in, I found my car keys and booked it to my girlfriend's house for the night. I'm currently looking for someone to take over my lease at the apartment.
Dad has to go on business trips and work a lot. My mom also has 4 other kids with me being the youngest, so she drops me off at my grandmother's sometime to have a break. Grandmother has this neighbor named Vincent who was a priest in Italy. Heard rumors that he used to do some crazy shit like exorcisms, but mostly everyone played them off as rumors to try and not start drama. Vincent is one of those super friendly nice guys, offers to let me use his pool out back. Him and my grandmother are friends, so they were pretty cool with each other. One day it starts raining while I'm swimming. Vincent and my grandmother take me inside his house and I dry off, bored since I can't play outside anymore. Start looking around, go upstairs and find a small door to the side that leads up to the attic. Attic only has one window on the side that never seems to completely illuminate the room. Dark as hell on one side with light on the other side. Religious stuff everywhere, crosses etc. Old books. All of the sudden the attic becomes cold as fuck and a cloud rolls over the sun, darkening the room even more. Hear a creaking noise. Look over into the dark side of the room and see the most disturbing sight I've ever seen in my life. Unmistakable outline of a human-like figure in the darkness. Looked like a tall figure with a large round head with extremely long pointy fingers with large black big-like eyes. Extremely tall with lankly limbs. Swear it grins at me before I nope.jpg and scream and get the hell out of there. Vincent comes running upstairs, looks at me and looks at the door that is open that leads into the attic. His face has a moment of dread, then takes on a serious face. Starts screaming shit in Italian, keeps repeating, lasciare demonio, and, dal demonio. Grandmother comes to pick me up an hour later. As I get into the back seat of the car I swear I see the outline of the same thing I saw in the attic looking out the window. Years later learned that Vincent was praying in Italian, also learned that lasciare demonio and dal demonio mean leave demon and out demon, also learned that his attic was full of stuff of when he was an exorcist. He really was for the church. Vincent died back in 2010, and his house is for sale on the market for a steal. The only problem is that from what I hear, everyone who takes a tour of the house previews it gets the feeling that something is wrong with the upper sections of the house because it's always so cold and you feel like you're not alone.
Be urban exploring with some friends. It's an old train maintenance facility covered in tall dead grass and leafless brushes. It's a late autumn afternoon. We take photos of the numerous graffitis. Someone climbs an old water tower, all that urban exploring stuff. Suddenly we find a completely intact building, deep into the area. It had new doors, electric locks, etc., while all the other things were burned down and cracked, like all the roads there. It's really silent around there and all I hear is the shutter and the beeps of my cam. After I finish taking pictures, a friend asks me if I hear that strange music. First I declined, but when I stood in a certain angle of that intact building, I could hear some kind of MIDI-like electric music, not very loud but still there. We joke around about a lost phone or stuff like that. The music keeps playing. All of the sudden fog raises up, evening is approaching. Music is even perceivable quite away from the building. We decide to leave the area. When we get back to the street lights are all off. The neighboring container terminal is silent. We nope all the way back, about 3 miles, to the city.
Few things. One of my earliest memories, if not my earliest. Not sure of age, just got out of bed, I don't know why. I am on the floor for some reason, facing under my bed. A black human face with vivid blue eyes is staring at me. Don't remember anything else, but it's been years, so that doesn't surprise me, but sister and father tell me I regularly must have fallen off my bed onto the floor and would wake them up crying. Another time, unrelated. At my aunt and uncle's house, staying in the guest room right off the staircase. Going downstairs, almost pitched black. See a smallish black shape standing off to the side of the landing. Stare at it for a few seconds, it runs off down to the left. I turn to the right and walk to the sitting room. See their cat and dog in there. They say they've been in there the whole time when I ask. So it wasn't the cat or dog. Another time, unrelated too, probably. Fall asleep upstairs. Wake up downstairs on the couch. I never sleepwalk, and even if I did I have no idea how I would have gotten down our stairs, which I sometimes trip on when I'm awake. I think that's everything strange that's happened in my life.
I was about 13 or 14, hanging out with about 5 other friends. The oldest was about 16 or 17 and the rest were in the range of 13 to 17. We decided to go up to the woods we live by and walk around. There's these horror stories about this man that lives up there that shoots anyone who goes on his property, but none of us believe them, or at least we pretend not to. We go up to the woods, derping around, looking for his house. We actually found a house, a small semi-burnt down house. A few of us wanted to walk up to it, and a few of us, including me, wanted to nope the fuck out of there ASAP. The ones who wanted to go up to it did and the rest stayed back. When they were about 20 to 30 feet away from the house, something walked out. We couldn't see its face that well, but it looks very disturbing, and it moved strangely. It let out an audible moan, at which point every noped and ran down the hill off of the path and right out of the woods. We didn't stop running until we got back to our friend's house and sat there trying to put what we saw into words. Still haven't gone back up there.
Be 20 a few years ago. Break into an abandoned hospital with some friends. Place was locked up tight for 2 years. Steadily work our way to 7th floor, the psych ward. It's the only door inside the hospital that's locked. Crowbar that shit open. Start walking in and the friend says he hears something. Everyone stops and listens. Hear a steady beeping like a heart monitor way down the hall. Start noping because we checked the power meters outside and there was no power flow. Start to hear a sound like someone is slowly sloshing through water and coming towards us. Nope. Go to the open door. It's fucking relocked. Super nope. Jam crowbar in and start prying like a motherfucker. Everyone is flipping shit. The sound is getting closer and faster. Get the door open and friends start rushing out. Second to last to get out of the ward. A friend behind me is screaming to run faster because it's getting closer. Notice that someone or something is pounding down the stairs above us. Get to the floor we broke in on and have to sprint 200 yards to the end of the hallway to get out. Make it out and run about 10 yards away and watch the door. No one ever came out. No idea what the fuck that was. Here's a picture, not archived. I took on another floor before all of this shit went down. I cracked open a door and saw this scene, slammed the door and noped because I thought it was a body. Went back there a few more times, checked out the psych ward and there wasn't any electronic equipment or anything weird down the hall, so I don't know what the fuck happened that night.
I was about 19 years old, cleaning at a boarding school. Yeah, I was their shitty janitor. Pushing the cleaning trolley around the outside of the math block because the fucking maintenance guys locked me out again. About 10 p.m. in the winter, pretty dark. Come around the corner to the bathrooms. See some kid in a hat leaning against one of the pillars, hear him whistling. No good punk kids. Gif. Trundle closer, cuz it's on my route. Kid side steps to the side of the pillar out of sight. Go the fuck to bed. JPG. Trundle closer ignoring pain in the ass, kid still whistling. Side steps again around pillar. Stop trolley. Go to walk over to tell kid to go to bed. Empty space, no damn kid. Heard the whistling and everything. The fuck. Makes sense how he was pretty much just shadow with a hat. I spoke to the other cleaning ladies and they said they saw the same guy, leaning against the pillars and have heard whistling. Not really, nope, just pretty cool. Didn't see much after that. Just things out the corner of my eyes sometimes, nothing definite.
B6. Hanging out with best friend at my place in my backyard. My property used to be a farm in the 1800s. There's a path that goes through woods and long grass that eventually leads to a graveyard. Past that is just a chain link fence dividing it from government property. Fooling around on path, almost arriving at the graveyard. Graveyard and fence within view, see a man behind the fence. He's dressed completely in white clothing, which I remember as being fur-like. My friend does not. We both remember his face as being completely pale white, or perhaps wearing a white mask. Either way, freaky shit. Not sure what his deal is, so we turn around and walk back to my house. Look over our shoulders a couple seconds after turning to walk away. He's past the fence, in the graveyard staring at us. Run back to the house, get my dad. Dad checks it out. Doesn't find anything or anybody.
I'll try to tell you about some things I've experienced before. It's nothing really scary, just creepy. When I was 13, I was going to a sleepover on a friend's house. It was going to be me, him and another friend. There was a road going up right before the street where he lives. We were in the car. I saw a man going up the road. The man walked under a streetlight, and when he did, he became a little invisible. I asked my friend if he saw that, but he didn't, so I just ignored it. About an hour later we were walking around the other kids' neighborhood and there was a small terrain, with lots of bushes. It was dark so we couldn't see much of it. The streetlight didn't help much either. Both of my friends' fathers were walking around too, but they were far from where we were. I looked at the bushes and I saw a silhouette. It looked like a man wearing a blood-red jeans jacket and a hockey mask. He didn't move, he just stood there. What was really scary is that we couldn't see under his waist. It was like he didn't have legs. I showed the silhouette to my friends and said what it looked like. They agreed with me, and we kept staring at it for minutes. We went back home, stayed there for a while, and when we were walking again, we saw him there, again, in the same place and position he was before. My friend's parents came back, so we asked them if they could see it, but they said they didn't. We kept staring again for a little while, and went back home. We were laying down, ready to sleep. We heard some noises but they just ignored them because my friend had a really big dog, so it was probably just her playing and walking around. The next morning we went to look for the man with the hockey mask, but all we saw was a brick wall where the man should be. 14 years old. Mom and stepfather are watching a movie in the living room. Goes to mom's bathroom. Peeing with the door slightly opened. Wash hands looking at the mirror. Does a weird dance, see someone walking outside going into mom's bedroom. Poker face. Goes to the living room, mom and stepfather are there. Nope. Once I had a weird dream. Me and two friends, who were not really my friends, I've never seen them before but I knew they were my friends on the dream, lived, studied in a boarding school. During the day everything is perfectly normal. At night, teachers and school staff tortured the students in gruesome ways, the school walls became red and bloody. But when the day dawns, everything is perfectly normal again. Students tied to poles getting whipped, spiked, beaten, etc. I managed to break free from my torture machine. Which I don't remember what it was. I set free one of my friends and we go to look for the other one. We find her, set her free and I wake up. It's not scary, but 2 days later I had another dream. Me and my two friends are sitting in a corner at school. Detective is talking to the principal and sometimes he looks at us. We look like we have a secret. Detective says he wants to talk to us. I wake up.
I have a sleepwalking one. I've sleepwalked since I was a kid, after I grew out of night terrors, when you wake up in the middle of the night screaming bloody murder. My mom has always told me creepy sleepwalk stories that I never remember, which always freaks me out, but this one was a little different. Friend is spending the night. Both sleeping on two separate couches in the TV room. TV room has two large windows that didn't have any blinds at the time, and a door that had lots of windows. Door has 3 locks. Go to sleep normally. In the morning, friend asked me what I was doing last night. I don't know what she is talking about. She tells me that I got up in the middle of the night, which woke her up, walked over to the door, unlocked it, and went outside. Then I walked over to the window, and stood there staring into the TV room for about a minute. Then I walked back into the house, locked the door and went back to sleep. She was thoroughly creeped out. Upon hearing this, I was paranoid for a very, very long time. I had heard stories of me doing really weird shit when I sleepwalked. I even remember doing it 2 or 3 times, but that kinda topped the cake. I haven't sleepwalked in a really long time, but I talk in my sleep a lot.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.